Hey guys, and welcome to my review for Starwing on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Let's take a look at the story. The story for Starwing is pretty simple. You live on a planet called Corneria, which is attacked by an army being commanded by the evil antagonist Andros. As leader of a specialist team of fighters, it is your job as Fox McCloud to travel to the planet Venom in order to seek out Andros and destroy him once and for all, saving the galaxy. Okay, so gameplay. First off the controls, you have 4 control options, which are Control A, B, C and D. Control A, you do barrel roll using L and R, you boost pressing X, you do a Nova Bomb, which is your most powerful weapon, by pressing A, you brake with B, and you fire a blaster with Y. Blaster is your primary weapon. You move up and down by pressing down and up because the buttons are inverted. The only difference with B is that blaster and brake are switched, and then C and D are exactly the same except from your up and down buttons are not inverted. In Starwing, you're given 3 different types of perspective. Third person, in which you have a good accuracy and it is easy to use. Third person but slightly zoomed in which your R-wing covers most of the screen. And first person. I found first person to be the easiest to use because you have a greater accuracy than the other 2 control types. The level select screen for Starwing is pretty easy to navigate. You have 3 options, level 1, level 2 and level 3, with level 3 being the hardest and level 1 being the easiest. Once you have chosen a path, you will follow it until you reach Venom and then fight Andros. Depending on which path you take, you'll fight a different boss at the very end of the game, and no matter which path you take, you will always start on Corneria. Once you have started the game by selecting a level, your team will scramble, and you will be sent off onto Corneria to try and stop the evil invasion and save the galaxy. The gameplay for Starwing is relatively simple. You will fly forwards and enemies will try to destroy your ship. When your shield reaches 0, you will die. To replenish your shield, you simply have to fly through one of the golden rings, which are sometimes dropped by enemies. When you start the game, you're given 3 lives. Once you lose all 3, it is game over, unless you have a continue, in which case you can start from the beginning of the stage in which you died. You're just flying forwards, destroying enemies and trying to keep your teammates alive. Whilst your teammates are still alive, they will help you by destroying the other enemies on screen. You will be flying around obstacles, through obstacles, flying through rings, saving Slippy a lot because he is one annoying little arse. And you will be destroying obstacles, then avoiding obstacles, getting hit by obstacles, then avoiding obstacles, and then destroying things that are moving, that are obstacles, and then you'll be killing enemies, flying through rings, golden rings or silver rings. Then, once you reach the end of a level, you will destroy the boss there. There is a boss at the end of every stage, and it will have its own health bar. To destroy the bosses, you usually have to simply fire and hit the flashing points on their body. When you reach the end of the level, it will say which stage is clear and then give you a percentage dictated by the amount of shield that you have, the amount of shield of your teammates, and then that percentage will be changed into a total score. Okay, so the graphics. They are simply amazing. Starwing uses the SNES's FX chip, which allows these 3D images, rather than the 2D games which were predominantly around at the time. Because of this FX chip, it was possible to get these brilliant graphics, which for the system are absolutely superb. The frame rate manages to keep it quite well, even though there is quite a lot going on screen. You may encounter some slowdown at certain points during gameplay, but it won't really take away from the full experience, and I never encountered much while I was playing. Although you might feel significantly slowed down if you go from playing a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 game to playing this, as it is on a very old console. Some of the effects are simply 2D images on a 3D plane, such as the explosions. Even though this doesn't look as good as the 3D models such as your R-Wing, it still looks good given the time that the game came out. Overall, the graphics look simply superb, and the game gets a complete full score for the graphics, simply because, at the time, this must have been one of the best looking games that was released. So next, we'll move on to sound. Here is a random assortment of the sounds in the game. Yeah, they were brilliant, weren't they? Okay, so good and bad points of the game. Simply, the good points, the graphics are absolutely brilliant. This game uses the FX chip for the Super Nintendo and utilises it absolutely perfectly, giving you brilliant graphics. The sound is absolutely brilliant. I felt there was nothing really much to say about it. I could just let you listen to it for yourselves and realise how absolutely amazing this is. In most games where you fly around in a spaceship, you'll simply fly around on your own, and the game can feel rather deserted and you'll feel lonely throughout the entire experience. Whereas in this game you have teammates flying around with you constantly. They will ask for help, give you help, and simply talk to you throughout your experience. This definitely makes the game feel more lively and enjoyable. The worst point of this game is definitely Slippy the Toad. Other than him there isn't really much else, but he is constantly ravaged by enemies and is constantly asking for your help, whereas he never gives you any help when you're in trouble. At some points you'll find yourself simply chasing Slippy around whilst he is in front of you, and shooting him yourself. Although it is rather annoying because you can't kill your own teammates, they simply tell you to stop shooting them. So, let's move on to the final score. Having never properly sat down and played a Starwing or Star Fox game before, I was pleasantly surprised when I put this one in my old Super Nintendo. The game is simply very enjoyable, and I would recommend it to anybody, so this game gets a 7.6 out of 10. This was simply superb, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Let's go!